exactly the same workout, would we get the same results? No. Why is that? Well, we have very different genetic structures. We have very different biochemical through our blood. We have different anatomical structures, and we have a very, very different lifestyle. However, we tend to generalize and say everybody should eat the same and everybody should work out the same. You always hear fish is good for you. You hear green fruits, green vegetables are perfect for you, and fruits are very healthy. Well, not all fish are good for you. In my case, for some reason, trout, cod, and crab are not good for me, and even anchovy. Now, I'll come back to anchovy in a little while and get an understanding of why that is. But here's the thing. Fruit, not all fruit are good for you. Biochemically, we have different resistances or sensitivities to different foods along the way. But yet we tend to say all fish is good for you. Well, here's the approach. We need to understand individually what makes you unique. And the only way we get at it is understanding what's going on inside your body to project performance outside the body. Anybody see the movie Moneyball? Brad Pitt? What was the whole premise of that movie? It was all based on predictive modeling. If this given baseball player could not hit the low and outside fastball 9 out of 10 times, the likelihood of him hitting the ball low and outside, again, very, very small. We didn't know why he couldn't hit it. We treated the body as a black box, so we just know he couldn't hit the ball. What if we could go inside the body and make the body better? That's the whole premise of what we have within the Game Changer Tech. It's understanding the uniqueness inside through high-tech and scientific methods to develop a better performance on the outside. Okay? So the approach is very, very comprehensive. What we do is take a very personalized approach to the individual. And the personalization starts off with a number of steps that we incorporate. The first thing that we do is a very detailed and comprehensive survey of a variety of different components that make you you. Okay? For instance, the first thing that we do is talk about your genetics or a little bit of your family history, the demographics of your being, your sleep habits, your nutrition habits, inflammation that you might have, issues that you might have, sports interests that you have. That gives us a very, very good understanding of a number of your interest and where you're going in your developmental phase. The second thing that we do is we do a food sensitivity test. Now let's spend a couple of minutes on food sensitivity. Food sensitivity is your body's immune system reacting to different food types. So this is not an allergy. An allergy is typically a very immediate and very harsh response to something you ate, you touched, you breathed, you sensed. You know when you have an allergy. Food sensitivity is quite different. This is a much more prolonged relationship and not as immediate, and many times you can't even tell that you have it. What you would typically feel is you're bloated, you have a level of inflammation, but most of us just take it for granted and we say, well, because I ate too much or something didn't sit right with me. And we just let it go. But over the years, this inflammation starts causing what turns out to be a chronic disease. Why? Because the body starts rejecting and saying, I've had enough. So if you look at 90% of chronic disease being diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all of this, the genesis is inflammation. It's the body saying, I've had enough. Okay? So how do we get there? Well, A lot of it is actually comes from the digestive system. The digestive system over time develops a set of immunities and sensitivities. So the first thing that we do is actually go inside the body, we take blood out. Okay? By taking blood, what we do is separate out the white blood cells from the regular red blood cells in the serum in your blood, and we put them in small vials, and each one of these vials, 200 different vials, have some processed foods, very different processed foods. You have meat, you have fish, you have vegetables, you have nuts, you have different herbs, you have fruits. So it gives you a very good indication of a lot of different food types. And then we put the white blood cells right on the different food types. Your white blood cell is your immune system. It's what actually helps your body react and protect itself. If those white blood cells start growing, and as we use very sophisticated equipment to actually measure the growth, you know that the body is reacting in a very, very abrupt way to something that you ate. It's simulating what would be going on inside your body. It's going on outside your body. You're actually seeing it. So it's very, very precise. Here's what happens. This is a typical report that you would get back. This is one of the key pages of a 20-page report that you would be receiving. But it has different food sensitivities that you have. The red and the oranges are areas you have extreme sensitivities to. Completely, you should stay away from these foods. Yellow is marginal. Green is all of the different foods that are very, very permissible, and they're actually good for you. But here's what happens. When you start eliminating the different foods that you have a sensitivity to, your body starts reacting in a very positive fashion. Let me give you a couple of very personal stories. I work out a lot. I go to the gym, and after I would work out, I would ice down. Ice on the shoulder, ice on the elbow, ice on the knees. It was painful, but I like to do it. One of the things that shows up on my food sensitivity test was peanuts. I have a sensitivity to peanuts. I'm not allergic to peanuts. I have a sensitivity to peanuts. What was I taking after the workout? Protein shake, whey, lots of scoops of peanut butter. I felt incredibly bloated, and I'm saying, well, you know, it's because of all the protein I ingested in such a short period of time. I removed the peanuts from my shake. All of a sudden, I can drink this thing before, during, or after the workout, and I feel terrific. Now I'm working out longer, I'm doing more reps with more weights, no ice afterwards. Okay? So inflammation way down. He give you the other extreme. My grandson, Eric's son, 7 years of age, having all kind of stomach issues. Not pain in the stomach, but very severe discomfort, to the point that my daughter, pediatric nurse, started saying, well, maybe you should eliminate some of the acid foods, some of the lactic foods, some of the gluten, and the normal things that we hear all the time. Well, we found out a whole lot more about Luke along the way by removing some of the foods. First thing that we did was actually introduce some probiotics into his system. Within a week and a half, the stomach discomfort was gone. And this has been something that had been going on for close to a year. Second thing that was very noticeable, every time Luke would get a cold, eventually he would develop an ear infection. 7-year-olds, you know it, okay? So antibiotic, that didn't work. A couple of weeks ago, for the first time in 5 years, he got a cold, and for the first time he didn't get an ear infection. Okay? So the second thing that we noticed about Luke is he's a very active soccer player. So you would see him running around in the soccer field, and he would be all out. Now you see his energy level, his color when he's running. and his mental acuity, his sharpness when he's playing, lack of brain fog, through the roof. So you can tell both you've reduced the level of discomfort, but also improved the performance. And that's where we're going with a lot of this thing. The performance for the youth is very, very important. We are all in repair mode. We damaged our bodies over time for a variety of different reasons. If we can introduce this to the youth, and at a very early age, start understanding what foods are best uniquely for them, and what vitamins are good uniquely for them. What omega-3s should they be taking at a very early age to actually help in the gland development, in the organ development, in the neuron development. One of the very large projects that we just picked up is called Lake Point. About 20 minutes north of Atlanta will be the world's largest athletic destination facility. 1,300 acres, 41 different sports, primarily targeted at tournament play for youth. They will average 6 million athletes and their families per year. This is a property larger than all of the Disney properties in Orlando combined. Okay? So we were just asked to do our program there. The reason this is so important is because if we can actually introduce it to the youth and have a healthier performing young athlete that develops the right patterns of nutrition, of conditioning, of sleep, of performance, of measuring their, two things are going to happen. One, they're going to perform at a much higher level, both in the field but also in the classroom. The second thing is, long term, the likelihood of having chronic disease will be greatly diminished. Why? Because you reduce inflammation in the longer term, and we'll see it for the long haul. So for the group here, what we're saying is the first thing that we do is we do the survey. Then we do the food sensitivity testing, Then, if you opt to, we do the equivalent of a combine. Combine is to test a different set of skills: strength, flexibility, agility, stamina, and balance. Why is that important? You should have a baseline understanding, measurable, that says, I've done these things and am I getting better? So we'll do it at the beginning and we'll do it out 3 months to see what has changed in your body and what improvements you have seen. And finally, we get all of the data together and you sit down with a health coach. The health coach will be Dr. Blum and his colleagues. They're trained in a wide variety of sciences related to health and performance. So we're not looking for disease here. We're looking for health, making healthy people healthier. Okay? So the emphasis is on performance. The emphasis all natural. There are no medicines here. It is primarily your body taking care of itself. It is primarily enhancing some of the properties in your body through some supplementals, some vitamins to help it along, but no medicines. Okay? And the point is, any type of supplemental would be personalized to you. Remember I said anchovy, that I had a sensitivity to anchovy? I go to Costco to buy some fish oil, omega-3. Nowadays I'm reading a lot of labels. And I turn it over and it says, made from fish from anchovies. What I would have been taking to reduce inflammation would have been causing inflammation. How would you ever know? How would you ever know? So the ability to even start personalizing some of the supplements that we take is fundamental in the overall analysis that we have. So what we do is get a very, very unique understanding inside of what the properties in your body are, and then develop programs that are 100% consistent with it. Now, something about the food sensitivity. For the most part, these are not sensitivities that you have for a full lifetime. They're actually sensitivities that come about over time. There are some that are going to be genetic, and you will know exactly, you had them when you were born, and you'll have them all the way through your life. But for the most part, these are sensitivities that happen over short periods of time. But as long as you have that sensitivity, it keeps building up and it keeps providing a level of inflammation and discomfort for you. So the approach that Dr. Blum is going to talk to you about is actually substituting out those foods that you have sensitivity to and then reintroducing them very methodically 3 months down the line. Because the cells actually remember for a period of about 90 days what your sensitivities are. So it's a very, very systematic. And so that doesn't mean you're going to be sensitive to peanuts for your whole lifetime. Probably not, but we'll have a pretty good idea. But we'll know exactly what you're sensitive to today. And if you don't do something about it today, you will completely maintain those sensitivities along the way. Questions so far? Yes?
When you take the blood test,
Dr. Blum, please come up.
do you have to stay away from certain foods? Would it be skewed if you went and had pizza for 3 nights in a row or something like that?
You mean prior to the test?
Yeah, prior to the test, what you would turn out the white blood cells.
Eat normally. Eat normally what you eat prior to the test. I wouldn't go and do pizza for 3 nights before the test, but just eat your normal diet and then go take the test.
No fasting.
Yeah, no, it's not a fasting test. Unlike blood glucose, you just go, you don't fast, you just go to the, we'll draw your blood probably, well, we haven't found out if it's here, if you have to go to the lab, but we'll draw, your blood will get drawn, and you just normally, eat normally before.
Do you know if it affects the results, what you've eaten? Like, for instance, example, when I go to donate blood, I'm always low iron. So if I go and have steak and stuff the night before, I know I'm going to donate blood, I can get by to be able to donate. So obviously, what I ate is affecting my blood. So
There is some evidence that what you eat in the couple days prior may affect it, but unless you're going to abuse your body and eat, a ton of steak, it's not going to affect it. We've looked at this. There are a couple times that it's shown up, but overall, what I tell people is eat normally and then just go get your blood test, and you'll be fine.
And are you guys local?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Where is it?
I live in Delray.
Where's your office?
Yeah.
Where do you
The
Right.
laboratory is here in Deerfield. We actually did pretty extensive search nationally to get the right laboratories that we would be using for this test. So a couple of ways that we have worked with groups before. We did one of the very large private high schools up in North County. We actually took the phlebotomist up there for an afternoon, and they did the whole 60 people in the players in the football team, plus their coaches and such. One of the things, if it's okay with your association, we would bring the phlebotomist here for an afternoon, and whatever is convenient, afternoon, night, whatever it is, we'll do the draw so that nobody's having to move. Likewise, the combines, or certainly the health coaching, we would bring Dr. Blum, and he would sit in one of the offices over here and go through it, primarily for a convenience for you, and provided that your association is okay with it. So we try to customize it to your being. But yeah, I've been a resident of Boca for 40 years. 32 of them were with IBM, and yeah, I live right over here in the preserve. So where to
Now, if we, all due respect to the association, I don't think I'm going to hold my breath until they make this decision. So if I was interested in doing it
Sure.
with my family, what's
Yeah.
the process?
The process is we sign you up. Diane goes through the sign up, and then right after that you go right into the website. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to receive a call from the call center, our concierge, that will actually explain to you what the overall process is, what calls you're going to be receiving from whom and such. So the first thing that they do is point you towards the survey on the website. You take that, then they will schedule you for the blood draw, and they will call you with a reminder to make sure that you're set for the draw. The next thing that they do is they will schedule your time for the combine, if you choose to do the combine. And third, they will schedule you for the health coaching with Dr. Blum. So it's very, very methodical. The way we structure it from a pricing perspective, if you're doing the combine, and the combine we split into, if you're a adult athlete or have athletic tendencies, you're playing tennis, you're playing golf, you know, a variety of things. We actually highly recommend the combine so you can see physical performance improvement over a period of time. If you're not that much into the sports, but you actually want the good wellness behavior, the healthy and everything else, we have an adult package, non-athlete, okay? We also do a package for youth, for kids under 17, because it's a very, very different set of circumstances that they're going through. They're primarily in the developmental. So the survey is different, the blood panel is slightly different. You don't need as many different food types to understand what they're all about. And we provide them a level of online health coaching, and we're using avatars, and we're using a number of different techniques to interact with. The professional, the adult athlete, non-professional, it's $749. The adult non-athlete is $689. The youth is $479. We also, you mentioned a family.